Thank you so much for participating. These are my favorite. This is my favorite time of the day because I get to be with you guys. I get to share some of my knowledge and wisdom. I'd like to ask everyone to please mute your mics so we don't get any background noise or sounds or conversations that we probably wouldn't don't want to hear. So happy holidays. I know that I took these 2 weeks, starting from around Christmas to now, just to kind of relax, reset, and clear my mind and my thoughts so I can actually reset and come back strong this year. And one of the things I wanted to do with you guys is just share, talk about mindset and going into the new year 2025. I think this is an appropriate time to talk about that because I think that's the most important thing that we have here. Our most powerful tool is our mind, our mindset, the way we think, the way we look at things. And we are, I always say this, we are the machines that make the deals happen. Without our brain power, without our mindset, we can't really close deals. We can't really engage with people. We can't really develop relationships and nourish the relationships. And that's why working on the mind is very, very powerful. And one of the things that's really annoying for me is that, I have people come into my office. If you've ever been into my office, I have a corner office with a great view of the mountains and everything. And it looks like I was just planted there. It doesn't look like, I spent 20 years, 20 plus years of my life working my ass off to get where I'm at, because a lot of people are seeing the end result, right? Like, oh wow, this guy, he has it made. He has, he's sitting cushy, he has this great office and probably has all these great things going on. But for me, it's been a long journey, and one of the things I'm very grateful for when I got out of UC Santa Barbara was that I had the opportunity to work in this great career, being a loan officer. I didn't know, I didn't plan for it. It was one of those things where I was in college and said, I can't wait to graduate because I'm going to be a loan officer. And I don't think none of us really think about being a loan officer. Maybe a police officer, maybe, right? But not a loan officer. It just doesn't sound like something that, at an early age would want to do. But I'm so happy that I stumbled into it. And one of the reasons is, we get to be a part of people's lives. They're making the biggest purchase that they're going to make, and we get to be part of it. We get to help them, assist them to help them grow and everything. And I don't know if I spoke about this in the last training, but I'll bring it up in case I did. I go to the gym at least 3 times in the morning after I drop off my son. And I'm over here in the Pasadena area, by the way. And coincidentally, I was parking my car and I recognized one of my past clients, right? And he was walking by, and his name's Phil. So I shouted out, "Hey, Phil, how's it going? Hey, Pablo, hey, what's going on?" So we got into a little bit of chit chat, and he's like, "Hey, your car's a mess." I had my car really dirty from not washing it for a couple weeks, and he's "Hey, if you want, bring it by my house. I'll wash it, clean it up for you." I'm like, "I'm not gonna have you do that." He's like, "You know what? I'm so grateful for what you did for me and my family back in 2003. This is how back, or maybe 2004. This is how back this customer goes, right?" And he goes, "We have all this equity. I got my kids, I got my wife, and I only have about 5 years left to pay off my mortgage. I've been paying it, so I'm just so grateful because I always think about everything you've done." And by the way, this guy has referred a lot of customers to me along the way, and he still does. He's working at the fire department now, and I was dealing with a lot of crap the last month, and my mindset was all eroded, and that moment, that conversation, I really needed that because it just reminded me of why we're doing this, and seeing this past customer of mine really appreciate everything what I've done and still have me in his thoughts. And I said, wow, this is why I'm doing this. I forget. It's easy to forget why we're doing this, right? So after that, I got remotivated, repumped up, and said, you know what, we got to keep doing this. We got to keep helping families, and that's what we're doing here, right? This is how I look at this, and this is why that's one of the reasons why I really got hooked in, because we get to be part of people's something positive in their life, right? A big purchase of, buying a home. For us, maybe it's a transaction after you've done so many of them, but for them, it's a huge deal getting into their first home. They're excited, and they're starting their whole new journey, their whole life, in that home that you're helping them get. And it might not be their first, it might be their beginning home. It might be their, and then later on, we're going to help them get into a second home and so on. So anyways, that was a good experience for me. it brought me back to the basic things that sometimes we forget that we need to do, right? So one of the things that I want us to do is really reflect on 2024 and all of our achievements. One of the things that for me, one of the things that I'm going to be focusing on heavily this year is just maintaining a positive mindset. Because what ends up happening is that, throughout the weeks, throughout the days, we get beat up, right? We get bad news here. Someone, we get into argument with someone does us wrong in a certain way. Maybe someone steals from us or does something, and it's upsetting, right? And it's something that can just take over our minds and not allow us to focus, right? And so, maintaining a positive mindset is really what I'm going to be pushing for everyone here, because that's really where we need to be if we're going to grow our business, if we're going to complete our goals, and so on. So in 2024, what I want you guys to do is look at everything that you've been able to accomplish, all your wins, all the great stuff, and own it, right? Say this is all the great stuff that's happening, so that we can use that as a foundation to build on. And also any setbacks, right? Any major setbacks. For me, when something goes wrong or something doesn't work out, I no longer see it as a failure. I see it as a learning opportunity. What went wrong here? What does this have to teach me? What can I learn from this setback? And don't ever not do that. You have to always stop and reflect and figure out why things didn't work out, because if not, you're going to be cheating yourself on a great learning opportunity there, because things don't work out and there's reasons why. And sometimes sometimes it might even be our own fault. And that's where we may go wrong a little bit, because it may be difficult for us to admit to ourselves, like, hey, I was wrong. And one of the things I started doing a while back is I make a mistake, I own that mistake. And the quicker I can own it and realize that, hey, this is something that I need to correct on myself, then the quicker I can move on to that next step and correcting that behavior about myself. Especially we start getting a little bit older, and it's hard to change the way we are. But the great thing about us is we're not trees, right? Like, I don't know if you guys ever seen when they plant new trees, they always put these stakes with these ropes, because they're young trees, right? And they need direction, they need to grow up, and they need to develop their trunks so that they can have stability for the rest of the tree. And at some point, the tree no longer needs that, because it's already set in its ways. It's already gotten a course. It's already developed in a certain way. And that's what may happen to some of us. And it may be a little bit difficult for us to break away from our old habits of the way of we do things. But if you're wondering why things haven't changed or why you're not getting the results, then that means that it may be time for change in 2025, beginning of the year. What a better time to actually start shifting our focus, right? um so one of the things that happens to me, and one of the things that I deal with all the time, and maybe a lot of you guys can relate to this, is uh you know getting sunken into bad energy, into bad thoughts, like this person did this person did that, and just kind of being stuck there and not really getting out of it, right? So I heard not too long ago from someone, or I read it somewhere, right? I think I read it somewhere. And we really have two choices in life, right? We can be grateful for the things that we have, or we can be mad, angry, and upset for the things that we don't have. Where do you want your mind to be? Grateful for the things that we have? I mean, or be negative and focused on one little negative thing that may be throwing us off, right? And when we start looking at all the great things that we have, you know, we have um, we have our health, most of us, we have our ability to work, we have friends, family, homes, whatever it is, we have a lot of great things going on. And I know it's great, because when we turn on the news, we hear some people living in war torn countries where houses are getting blown up and all these things are happening, and we're like, wow, we're grateful to be in a situation where we even have the ability to work. And so I'm constantly pulling myself into this positive mindset of gratitude and just being positive, so that I don't get sunken in by any negative things that happen. Like if someone did me wrong, and I'm just dwelling on it and dwelling it, and I'm allowing them to live rent free in my mind, right? We don't want to let anyone live rent free in our mind and take over our mind. We want us to be in total control of our mind, and especially if we're going to be successful in this business, we got to stay positive. Positive energy is going to attract us to more customers and to more business, right? um, Start thinking about the things right here. I put list three things that you're grateful for, whether it's personal, and really start thinking like, wow, like I'm able to get up to work. I'm able to live in a great city. I'm able to do all the good things. And I don't want it to be like a credit report, right? Sometimes you look at a credit report and you look at a bar's, they have maybe 10 trade lines. They're all perfect. And then they have that one credit card that has a 60-day late. But then you have 10 other accounts that are perfect, right? But we're zeroing in on that one account that's bad. We don't want to do that to ourselves. We have so much positive going on, then let's focus on the positive. Um, so I'll tell you guys what my routine every morning is, right? So I take my son to school. It's important for me to take him to school. He's about to start driving, so I'm not going to be able to do that for much longer. And that's the reason why I take him, because I every day that I get to take him is a day that I get closer that I'm not going to take him anymore because he's going to be driving soon. And it's a good time for me to spend. It's a good opportunity for me to spend time with him and talk to him. And if it's a 20-minute drive, and we get a lot of conversation going. So I'm definitely going to miss it when once he starts driving. Uh, but then I after I drop him off, I work my way to the gym. I do have my AirPods, my Bluetooth, and I do listen to books right before I get to the gym. So I'm driving back to the gym, listening to books, and I pick books that are gonna work on my mindset and keep me in a positive state of mind. And there's so many great books out there. And if you don't know any, you could start with like Tony Robbins and all those guys. My favorite, some of my favorite authors is like Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. Robert Kiyosaki is really good for mindset. That's a good one to read. And so I'm working out and I'm listening to all these things just right before I start my day, so that I can have pretty much all these positive affirmations, and ideas flowing through my mind. And I think that's the best time because you're awake, your mind is ready, it's an empty vessel ready to take on all this information, and it allows me to get my workout done as well, right? uh Visualize, practice. One of the things that that we all fail to do, and you could have a conversation with yourself about this, is we don't really practice anymore. None of us are practicing anything, right? I gave it last time, one of the trainings. I gave an example about the basketball court that's in our house. And me and my son started shooting for about when we first started shooting. I'm not a basketball player. He was 10 years old, not really knowing how to shoot a basketball. And the first couple of days, we were just missing the basket. And the end of 30 days of going out there and practicing for about 15-20 minutes every day, we started making 3 pointers and 2 pointers, and it just reaffirmed to me how important practice is. Another example was table tennis. We have a little table tennis ping pong, and me and him started playing, and within 30 days, we're both of us are really good. We're going back and forth, and again, reaffirming to me that practice just makes things better for all of us. So that what we're doing as career loan officers, as loan officers, we need to practice, and get a lot of practice in. For me and myself, these presentations and this opportunity that you guys afford me, that you give me by allowing me to share my ideas, my experience, and everything, allows me to get stronger in my speaking and getting comfortable in front of the camera as well. So just keep doing it. I'm getting better. If you would have seen some of my earlier video recordings, they're almost laughable. But I'll give you guys a tip. Anytime I'm going to try something new, I always go in with knowing that I'm gonna mess up, I'm gonna make mistakes, and I own it right before I don't go with like I'm gonna do the best presentation. I go in there knowing that mistakes are gonna happen, and I'm okay with it, so that when I'm done doing what I'm doing, whether it's a presentation in front of people, then I can look back and say, you know what, I learned. I got a rep in. I got a reputation, a rep in. Rep, like when you're working at the gym, you're doing reps, and the more reps I get in, the more my muscles start growing, the more uh, better speaker I become, the better I can present, right? And so for me, it's all about getting reps in. The more reps I get in, the more stronger I'm gonna become. And I know I make mistakes, I stumble in my words, and I may not make things clear enough as I want. But the whole point is you're on that path and you're getting that practice in, you know. One of the things that's hard for us to do too is just put our phones away. You know, like I have my phone here. You know, we all have all our technology, and I think phones are the biggest distraction that we have. And you know, they're like magnets, right? As soon as there's nothing to do, you know, we're at a lobby, maybe a dental appointment or a doctor appointment. You know, anytime we have any downtime, we tend to grab our phones, right, and start scrolling through social media or whatever it is that we do, and it could be a really distraction. And sometimes, honestly, it's great to clear your minds. One of the things that I do is, you know, if you guys know me at all, I play golf. Cool thing about golf is you're 4 hours out on a course, grass, nature, and you get to put your phone away, you know, and it's a great way to just unplug yourself from technology. Allows you to just, you know, your mind to take in everything around you and not just constantly be consumed with everything that's going on, because things are changing, you know, they're changing fast, and it's up to us as individuals to be responsible on how we're going to take care of our minds, our bodies, and everything else. And that's one of the things that we have to recognize and be aware of. um, so I put this together for you guys. Smart goals, you know, goal setting, right? Goals are important because if you don't have goals, then the way I look at it is you're just sailing in the wind. You're allowing the wind to take you in whatever direction the wind's going to take you in. And for me, that's not so smart. You know, you gotta be able to know exactly where you're going, and your goals are going to get you there. And you know, we have right here where we use SMART as an acronym for specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time bound. And it's important that your goals do have you know, time frames, deadlines. You know, you don't want to say, well, you know, I want to close 2 deals, and you know what, for the whole year, for the next week, for the next month. All that has to be specified, right? And one of the things that I do is uh, I make micro goals. I make small goals. So, you know, let's say I want to close, I'll just give you guys an example. Let's say my goal is to close 50 loans for the whole year, right? And develop 20, maybe 30 realtor relationships and so on. So then what I do is I reverse engineer all that back into a month. And I say, okay, what do I need to accomplish in a month to make the bigger goal, right? So I make smaller goals out of the bigger goals just because it feels like it's more attainable, and it feels more realistically, and it's a little bit easier to measure, right? So then I'll break it down per month, and it makes it easier. It doesn't make it like a daunting task, like, well, I gotta close 50 deals this year, right? It just makes it easier. And it'll keep you motivated. You know, if you get the two, you missed it by 3 or 4 loans that month, then you can pop those over, because what starts to happen as you get better and stronger, you start closing more and more deals, because once you learn and you get really good at getting 1 or 2 closings a month, then you're easily going to get into 3 or 4 or 5 closings a month, and then from 5 to 6 it's going to be easier to get to 10, 11 closings a month, right? And it's just all baby steps. You just got to step into it. It's not gonna, you can't expect, you know, 1 month to the next, unless interest rates drop. If interest rates drop, then we're all probably going to be doing really good. But uh, we can't assume that for now. We're all hoping that that's what happens for 2025. And just think of that as a bonus, you know, but you still got to become the person that knows how to close 2 to 3 or 4 deals a month. And you guys already know, with these commissions, even with just 2 loans, you can make easily over 10 grand a month, which is more income than most people make anyways. And then you get all the benefits of what a loan officer has, right? We have freedom of time, mobility, income, and then the opportunity to work on ourselves. And those are the things that I always say about that, right? The celebrate the little wins. You know, they're important, you know, hey, I closed that big reverse mortgage deal. I made it happen. You know, when everyone said they couldn't do it, and when people didn't believe in me, I made it happen. And it's gonna encourage you to continue to want to even close more deals. So you got to take a moment, celebrate. Sometimes what I would do is I'd go and you know, maybe go with the guys at the office for a happy hour, or just, you know, do something to kind of pat myself in the back and say, yes, I did it. You know, I was able to this month meet all my goals, and then and one of the things about achievements, or winning, or accomplishing your goals, and this is the thing that sucks, is that it's short lived. And when I say it's short lived is, when a football team wins a victory, yeah, they won, they celebrate for a day or two, and then it's gone. Then you're left with, okay, you got to continue on with life, and you got to continue looking for the next wins, right? That the win doesn't just stay with you permanently. It's as we're changing, things are changing, and so you gotta learn how to celebrate them, because they come and go quickly. And I've had some major accomplishments where, like, I remember early on in the company, something that seemed unreasonable for Equity Smart Home Loans to do is I wanted to get to 1,000 loans. I forgot when it was, 2014, 2015. And we didn't get to 1,000 loans until about 3 years later. I set the goal 1 year, but it took 3 years to get it. And when we got to 1,000 loans for the year, I was like, wow, what seemed impossible 3 years ago is now possible. And now we do that every year like nothing. And when you're a loan officer and you can get to a point where you can say, I always close no less than 3 loans a month, like that's like, no matter what's going to happen, I know I'm going to close 3 loans a month. Being able to reach that exist. Me and Steve Kim has been with me since 2003, and we met. If you've done his presentations, he's a really great guy. We met back then. He was working for Chase, and I had just started, 2 years into my company, and he came into my office and he started sending in deals that he couldn't do. I think he was at Chase, or I forgot where he was at. And then after like 4 or 5 months of just constantly closing deals through my office, I told him, "What are you doing? Just come work with over here. You're already doing it, right?" And one of the issues you have as being a retail loan officer is you you have all the benefits. You're in a corporate environment. You feel like you have a sense of security. So it's hard to leave into our space, to a place where you're 1099, and your next deal really depends on your abilities to close and talk to people and network and all that, right? You're not under this corporate feel where you're getting a salary and all that. So it's a little different. That's why I respect all you guys, because we're all a unique bunch. We have the guts to say, hey, I believe in myself. I'm in this space because I know I can grow, and I can do loans in this in the space that we're in. All right, so another thing that's important, like I said, is let's keep our positive self talk, right? Let's keep everything positive. um, one of the things that I've always battled with, and I think a lot of us battle with it, is, like, for example, when I tell people, hey, do social media. Oh, no, no, you know what, that's not for me, I'm not going to do that. You're already counting yourself out without even trying. And I jump on social media, and the people that I visualize ideally would kick ass in social media are not what they look, or are not what they appear. It never is that way. You have this idea of like, oh, this guy's an influencer, you got to look a certain way, you have to have a certain hairstyle, certain age. There's guys out there, there's professionals out there kicking ass at all levels, shapes, sizes, ages, colors, skinny, fat, tall, skinny. I mean, it's just that they're committed to the content that they're going to put out there, right? And they don't allow themselves to be limited by any of their physical or mental abilities. I mean, you see people without arms, and people really owning the social media space that you would never think could do that. So one of the things that's important for this year is that we don't allow that self-talk. I'm not good enough, this is not for me, I'm not the right skin color, I'm not the right person, I'm not the right gender, someone else should be doing this, right? I've always taught my kids to never say, when I hear my kids say I can't, I always tell them, don't ever say I can't, say how can I, right? And start shifting really the way you think. How can I do this? How can I accomplish this? Never tell yourself I can't. um, Encouraging, right? One of the things that's very difficult as a remote loan officer is that it's hard to get encouragement, right? Sometimes we even feel like we're alone, right? No one's really thinking about us, and how do we get that encouragement, right? And start thinking about your responsibilities. For me, it was like, okay, I got kids I got to put in school, I got a family to feed, and I got to make this happen. So I got to encourage myself. I cannot let them down. They're counting on me. And my reward for them is to see them happy, to see them living the lives that they want to live, the lives that I couldn't live, right? And that's one of the things that the ways that I encourage myself. But it's rare where you when you get someone that comes into your office and pats you in the back and says, "Wow, you're doing an amazing job." And by the way, it does happen every so often. Someone will come in and say, "Hey, thank you so much for everything, and you're doing a great job." And it does feel great when you hear that. All right. So I always one of my famous quotes, and I've said this along since like 2005, was there's no problems, only solutions, right? And one of the things about loan officer or loan officering is what we do is we're problem solvers. We like to see what the problem is. Okay, we got your application, we got your credit report, we have all your stuff. What do we need to do to get you that loan, and how are we going to help you get into the house that you're looking for, right? And that's what they come to us for. And one of the things about me is I was a big chess player in college. I used to like playing chess a lot. And if any of you guys ever played chess is all about problem solving, right? So I kind of developed that problem solving muscle, and I like to look at things and from all different angles and saying, okay, how can I get this customer their home? Because and I know that majority of people are going to fall in the gray area. The people that are easy to approve, anyone can approve. And the people that are easy to decline, anyone can decline them. But the people that are in the gray area that kind of qualify, barely qualify, or you need to massage them to qualify, those are the people that really need our help, right? And the way we're going to help them is we got to invest in ourselves so that we become stronger and able to look at all different angles and see how we can help them, offer them solutions, put them on a roadmap so that we're able to close their deals, right? And when you come from an authentic or genuine state of mind, people can pick up on that and say, hey, you know what? Felix Torres really wants to help me. He wants to really help me get in that house. They have a great experience, and then before you know it, they start referring all their friends and family to you. And by the way, I was a call center loan officer in my early years, like in 1999. After that, I became a referral only loan officer, meaning that the only way I got my deals were through referral. And Steve Kim, also 2003, he came in. All the way up to this point, we've never really bought leads. We've never done anything but referral business. And I always share this. I always tell everyone that, we used to have people come in our office and say, wow, you guys are doing really good. What's your marketing plan and this and that? And I used to be embarrassed because I didn't have a marketing plan because I'm like, how can I just tell people that my business only depends on referrals? I just thought it was not. So I'd lie and say, oh yeah, well, we're spending like 3,000 on flyers and this, and it was not true. Everything we were doing was just word of mouth and building realtor relationships, CPAs, loan officers that worked in bank. We're just about building relationships. And that's how we've been able to sustain and live, and not only sustain, but thrive. We've been able to thrive. He became a millionaire. I became a millionaire. And even in our late 20s, we're already, doing really well. And all through that, and again, uh, investing heavily in ourselves. Um, and I got a little bit ahead of myself, but build and nurture strong relationships, right? And this is an area where why we need to really uh, read a lot of books and work on ourselves, because we are the machines that make the deals happen. And how do you improve a machine, right? How do you upgrade yourself? How do you get better by gaining more knowledge? There's so many books out there, and also YouTube now. I mean, YouTube has so many different, so much content on how to talk to clients, and you can watch videos and scripts and all this. And there's so many ways to go about it. It's up to you to choose how you want to develop yourself, right? Uh, so some of the things that you could start doing and now is start reaching out to past clients. United Wholesale Mortgage has the value estimator that's free. You can call a customer and say, hey, I haven't talked to you since last year. Wanted to wish you a happy new year. Do you mind if I send you a free value for your property so you could see where it's at? And also, I pulled up these articles that I'd like to send to you regarding interest rates and blah blah blah, and it's a great way to get back and get them top of mind, because that's really what we want to do. We want to get our bars back top of mind. Stay in touch with your referral partners. Show them appreciation. If you didn't get them gifts, or letters out to them, then you should do that now. Most of my business came from strong realtor relationships, people that were closing loans. And one of the things that I told myself and convinced myself was that anytime a realtor gave me a deal, it was like if they were handing me their paycheck, right? And not only just handing me their paycheck for me to make sure they get paid, but also making sure that the customer they gave me or referred to me had a great experience. So I had to make sure of those two things, that they got paid and they got paid on time. And the second thing was making sure that their bars had a good experience, to the point where I made it clear to the referring bars, like, hey, please let Mike from Remax, the person that referred me, let them know what a great job I did, right? So now Mike is always going to think of me and saying, wow, not only do I get paid quickly with Pablo, I also get my customers are happy. It's a win-win. Why would I want to send my deals anywhere else but Pablo, right? And that's the person I became. I became the reliable, consistent person that the customer wanted to become. I mean, that I wanted to become, so that the customers could send me more business, right? And once you get that reputation, they want to work with you. They're looking for you. People are loyal. They want to work where things work. Once things start falling apart and not working, then they start looking elsewhere. So you got to be that solution, that you got to be that person that answers the phone and be available. But very important right now is to get out there. If you haven't touched base with them in a while, go ahead and do it. We have the calendars now where you should be cycling, like, getting in touch with every referral partner once a week, and just calendar it in there so you get an alert on your calendar, and you just make the calls, and you got to break up your days in what priorities you have, so that you can make time for this and time for practice and time for all that. So, and if you guys want, you guys can do a one-on-one call with me, and I can kind of help you maybe plan out your days, because true success is not going to come overnight, and it's not going to be one big month that you have. It's just going to be a consistency of who you are. Like when I come into the office, I already know how Mondays looks. I already know how Tuesday looks. I already know how Wednesday looks, because I repeat those actions on Mondays. I repeat all my actions on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and of course, I have unique days where I have to go out and do fill things and stuff like that. But once you start building that consistency, then you're going to start seeing consistent results, right? That's how you get those consistent results, right? Um, Again, we're problem solvers just by nature, just because we have to deal with the banks, and we got to give them the loans the way they want us to present the loans, right? And just make sure that your problem solving skills are at their best. You don't know how many loans I've gained from other loan from other loan officers who dropped the ball because they missed something. They didn't understand guidelines. They didn't go out there and read, and understand how the DU works. You should have an understanding of everything that we do. If this is your career and this is what you decided to do, you should have you should know almost as much as you can. Now, we have a training room where we have a full library of different types of trainings that we've recorded in the last couple of years. We also have the calendar where we invite a lot of our lender partners to do trainings, not only on their programs and products, but also on income calculations, on understanding the bank statement loans, on understanding reverse mortgages. Uh, One of the stories I share sometimes is where I'm in the market for a car, right? I want to go buy a car, and I go to the Mercedes dealership, right, or the Land Rover, whoever, and there's salespeople outside smoking and hanging out, and you get there like, oh, I want to test drive this car, right? So they jump in the car with you, you take off, you start asking them questions about the car, and they don't know anything, and I'm thinking, well, you guys have it easy. You guys have one product to sell, maybe different models, but you should understand how the AC works, the radio, the all the bells technology, and like, they don't know anything, and you're hanging out in front of the dealership. I'd be in the back reading everything I know about the car, so when the customer's asking me questions, I'm able to answer all those questions and address them in a way where, like, wow, this guy really knows his stuff, and why I should buy that car, right? I want to be sold. People want to be sold. Are you going to do the job of selling, right? You got to be able to sell.
That's
um
amazing.
One of the things that's good for that I do is I think someone's phone. Okay. attend industry events, right? That's important, that we stay connected with mortgage industry by attending webinars, networking, conferences, learning new products and programs. Uh, Great way to meet new people, great way to connect with other people, great way to maybe learn about a new loan product, things of that nature. So make sure that you look at what's available for 2025 in terms of events, of things that are happening. We're going to be sharing on our calendar things that are going to be happening. Me and Serafin are actually going to go on the road this year. We're gonna be speaking at Originator Connect. I think we have about 9 events that we're going to do in Arizona, Florida, Texas, New Mexico, and we're taking this opportunity, to showcase what Equity Smart Home Loans has to offer, but also to give us an opportunity to get better, to get in front of people and really share what we have. And so I'm excited about that. We'll put that on the calendar. By the way, I still owe you guys a social media presentation. The guy that was going to do it for us, Neil, he had postponed it, so I'm going to get a new date for us. Hopefully, sometime this month. Amazing, amazing, amazing social media stuff that I really want to get in front of you guys. Also, loan. We just signed up with Loan Atlas. I'm probably telling you this a little premature, but we're gonna have coaching available for you guys through Loan Atlas. It's gonna be hugely discounted. We're actually going to subsidize most of it for you guys. But any of you guys that are looking to get coaching as specific to the mortgage industry, we should be going live with that probably by February 1st, and that's going to be exciting because you're going to get a whole team of people that are going to be able to coach you and get you up to speed and help you with not just putting loans together, but the things that are just as important, which is the communication, the nurturing of the client, the staying on top of the client, all that other stuff that's really important in our industry. So that goes with seeking mentorship or peer support, right? So feel free to talk amongst each other and connect with one another. I think a lot of us are very generous. I'm generous with my information, with my knowledge, experience. A lot of loan officers are as well. We have the ranking system on the portal, so you can see which loan officers are closing deals. Maybe check in with them and see what ideas you can get from them, right? And what they're doing right now at this moment to get deals to help you grow your business, right? Uh, our industry is one that's really ups and downs. There's a lot of ups and downs in our business, and it's easy to get discouraged because what you could have a bad month, and it could be like, wow, I'm not getting any deals, no one's calling. December was kind of like that. I think for a lot of us felt that. We go into holiday mode, and you really got to prepare for December because some people actually end up having really good Decembers, and some people have okay, and a lot of people don't have a lot because a lot of people, their business partners, referral partners, end up going on vacation and this and that, and you can feel like, oh my god, things are falling apart, things are not happening. But then along comes January and February, and then boom, deals start closing and things start happening again. So you got to be able to survive and get through those tough months as well as the good months, right? uh, One of the things that's really constant in our business is just the change that happens. I mean, we're constantly seeing a lot of change. When I started in the business, I kid you not, we still had the 1003s, the loan applications that were actual carbon copies. I don't think the newer generation understands why when you CC someone what that really means. But the CC, what it really means is that back in the days we had papers, you pressed hard and it transferred that writing into 3 or 4 different pages, and then you could pull out the different colored pages and hand one copy to someone and hand another copy, and that's how we did things. That's how old school I am. And now we don't have any of that. Right now it's all technology, everything's on online, and there's a lot of more changes happening. And I think the quicker we recognize that these changes are happening and we own them and we get on top of them or ahead of them, it's going to just push us ahead of our competitors, that much more. um, all right, maintain your balance. Recognize when you need a break. I know for me, I used to be a workhorse. I'd come in at 8 o'clock, leave at 9 o'clock, and you can only do that for so long, right? And working on loans back then was a lot harder. You by the time you were done, you had packages that were that big, and you had to like make a lot of copies. You had to drive them back and forth to a borrower's house. They wanted you to engage with them, in a personal level, And so there was a lot of work, and now the great thing that we have, and why we build a platform like Equity Smart, is because we can do everything virtually online, which is not only a time saver for us, but for our bars, it's convenient, and we're able to get a lot more done in a lot less time. And there's going to be a lot more cool changes happening. One of the things that I'm seeing right now, and I don't know if you guys are seeing it, maybe some of you guys already have it on your email, but we signed up with Google. They rolled out this AI email thing now where you can get auto responses. It'll create the response for you in such a good detail and such relevancy that it's a little mind blowing. It's and actually a little scary. I had a customer email me about rates, asking about rates, and there was already an AI generated answer with a rate in there, and I went and I checked, and it was pretty accurate. I'm like, wow. And all I had to do was push, and it had like a whole paragraph with the rate in there, and I'm like, wow, this is really a time changer. So, very curious to see what's going to happen in the next couple of years. But a lot of changes are happening, and they're going to continue to happen. And that's the one thing that we can count on. Uh, for me, one of the things that helped me really, early age get through and become successful was change the people I was hanging around with. I started surrounding, if I wanted to be a winner and I wanted to be successful, I realized I needed to be around people that had the same mindset, right? If you're still hanging around with the old people that are like, this is the doomsday people, that this is not going to work, this is not going to happen, this is negative, then you're going to be influenced by that, you're going to be impacted by that. And sadly to say, it could even be family members, and sometimes I personally had to, remove myself away from certain family members, which in a way is sad, but it was only for the betterment of myself because I couldn't be around the negativity, right? And I realized that in order to keep a strong mind and a strong positive, I needed to be around people that were like-minded and positive like myself. And sometimes it may be the people that we're attached to that we may need to let go of. And sometimes when we let go, we don't need to have like not be part of their life, but just know when we can be part of their life, and make sure that it doesn't they don't the relationship doesn't interfere with what we're trying to accomplish as individuals or as loan officers. Decluttering is pretty cool. When you have always, when you walk into your space, and it's all cluttery and everything, it can just, throw you off for one, and uh, you know, I've always had a person that had, came and cleaned my house, right? And I love just walking into a clean space because there's nothing better than a great feeling when everything is just clean and organized, and it just allows your mind just to enjoy the space rather than kind of fight the space and like towels there and clothes on the floor and the dishes all over the place. So for me, it's very important for me to keep a very clean space. Another thing you guys should be doing for this year is join a mastermind group. And I was actually thinking of maybe putting one together. If whoever's interested, maybe we can. And mastermind groups is just maybe sharing ideas, discussing different strategies, and supporting one another, and just helping each other out. And something that we haven't done here, but something that thinking about putting together for us, because it's great to have that support, especially because we're all doing the same thing. We're all loan officers in the same space, and we're trying to grow our business. We're trying to get more clients and help more families, and help ourselves as well, right? So, like I said earlier, it's important. The mind needs a healthy, strong body to support it, right? One of the things that I'm seeing a lot on social media now is the exposure. They're exposing a lot of these companies out there now that are feeding us all this poisonous food. Cancer rates are at a higher level than they've ever been before. Now we're talking about microplastics, and this is one great thing about social media that I'm seeing, is that we're all becoming aware, and we can't avoid and ignore these things anymore, and we cannot allow ourselves to be continuously be poisoned by highly processed foods. It's our responsibility to take care of our health and our well-being, and it's important because, again, we are the machines. We have to invest in ourselves, and if we want a healthy mind, we can do everything I just talked about, but we have to have a healthy body supporting it, right? Our body has to be strong. I do my recruiting presentations tomorrow, Tuesdays at 11 a.m. and I get the best. I do the best presentations once I'm done with the gym, have a little bit of coffee, and I'm amped up. I'm ready to go, and I get the best results because my energy is where it needs to be at, and I already have it all planned out exactly what I'm going to do because I know it works. And just being healthy, exercising just makes you feel alive and makes you feel like you can tackle on the world and you're ready to take on anybody. So please incorporate that into whatever routine you have. Mental health, like I said, it's easy to get consumed. We look at social, and by the way, I'm going to tell you guys, I'm going to be the first one to tell you guys, a lot of the people that are closing deals and this and that on social media, it's not true. I don't know what the percentage is, but I'll give you an example. So, there was this gal that was kept posting like, oh, I just opened 3 deals. Cause we all see those postings, right? I just closed 3 deals. I just opened 2. I just closed 5. I'm like, wow, this girl's kicking ass. Awesome. Right. So I run into her at an event, and I'm like, oh, congratulations. You're, and she's like, oh, no, 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 no. She's like, I'm just kind of like, I'm faking it to make it. I'm just saying, I'm like, what? I go, you had me fooled. You're closing all these deals, and what? No. And I was a little bummed out because I thought it was real. And I had another situation where someone else was doing that as well. And the reason I bring that up is because it, things like that make us feel in fear, like, oh my god, how's this person closing so many deals, and what's wrong with me, and that's why sometimes it's okay to put that phone away. We don't want to be fall victim to what other people are doing. We need to focus on ourselves. The only thing that we have control over is our next moment. That's all we really have control of, our next action. We can't control anyone else. We can't control anything else. We can't control the conditions that we were born in, the conditions, the environment we're in now, but we can control the next moment and what's going to happen next. Focus on that. What am I going to do next to empower myself, to better myself, and not just financially, but to help families, to help myself and everything. And just keep that in mind. What do I have control over? The only thing I really have control over is the next moment, the next thing that I'm going to do, and you get to choose what that next thing is going to be. Work-life balance. As an employer, I really want you guys to work your ass off from 7 in the morning to 12 at night if I had it my way, but I'm just kidding. No, of course we have to have work-life balance. And the great thing about a platform like Equity Smart Home Loans is that it allows for that. It allows for us to have a work-life balance. I've never, well, maybe once, but I get to participate in all my children's plays. I get to participate in everything that they're doing because I could stop what I'm doing. I could leave my office and go and doing everything. And I only missed one. The reason I hesitate is because I only missed one Thanksgiving play that one of my son had. He's 16 now, and I think it was like he was 6 years old when I missed it, and he still reminds me of it. And it was only once, and I'm like, "Hey, you're lucky. My parents hardly went to any of my plays or anything, So just be happy." But he still holds it to me, and after that, I vowed and committed to never miss anything as long as I was able to go, and because they're a priority. It keeps me balanced. All right, so tracking your progress, right? Share your goals with us, with you guys, with family members. Talk, speak it, breathe it. Tell the world. Like, I'm gonna close. Like, if you ever hear, if when I'm talking to people, some of the lenders we're working with, and I'm trying to negotiate better rates for us and better terms for us, I tell them, I go, hey, right now we're at $400. We're gonna be at 600 by this year, and then by this year we're gonna be at 1,000, because it's gonna happen. We're gonna make it happen. There's no doubt in my mind it's gonna happen. And so I'm already talking like if it's already happened because I believe in that. And now people can share in that. And people in the office here, the people we work with, the people that support you guys also believe that we're going to be able to get to that. So it's, you got to really uh, believe in what you're going to do. Um, there's a lot of tools and ways that you can track your progress. And it depends what you're trying to track, right? But again, for me, it's all about scheduling your days so that you can achieve your monthly goals, and you want to simplify them, right? I used to joke around and say a loan a day keeps the bill collector away, right? A loan a day keeps the bill collector away. I have 8 hours in the day to get one loan. If someone came into my office right now and said, "Here, I have a bag, a suitcase, it has $1 million in it or 100,000, whatever," right? All I need you to go out right now. It's 8 o'clock in the morning. And by 5 o'clock, I need you to come back and bring a loan and you get this bag, right? Guess what's going to happen? Every one of us on this call is going to go and get a loan somehow, some way, because there's $1 million waiting for us at 5 o'clock. You might lie, cheat, whatever, but you're going to come back with a loan, right? And so one of the things I used to, when I was doing my one loan a day keeps the bill collector away, uh, I would pretend like someone was going to give me $1 million, and if I went and got a loan, if I'm running out of the office, I'm gonna door knock the first door, the next door, because I got until 5 o'clock, and I'm gonna do things that I didn't think I was gonna do to get that $1 million. But guess what? Here's the great part about it. There is $1 million waiting for you. It's just not going to be in a bag, and it's just not going to happen that day. It's going to happen in a matter of maybe a year or 2 years, because that's how long it took me. Keep in mind, I grew up in a low income family, very little education. I graduated from UC Santa Barbara with $150 in my pocket and a bunch of student loan debt. And by the time I was 27, 28, I was already a millionaire because I did the actions and the steps of what a person that wants to earn $1 million would do. And it led me to become a millionaire. I'm 51 now, and well, I bought tons of real estate. I flip homes. I do all kinds of different things because I enjoy doing those things. But I had to build up to that. I never thought in my wildest dream at 19, 20 years old that I would even have the type of money that I have right now. And it all happened because I decided to make decisions when I was younger that led up to this point, which I'm sharing with you right now, and the things that we got to work on. And again, never bought leads. Uh, Me and Steve survived the 2008 market crash, meaning that we didn't leave, we didn't close shop, we kept working, we kept going. It was tough, it was rough, it was, I think there was one time where we went to Pollo Loco on a coupon. Kind of embarrassed to say that, but that happened. It was just really tough times. But we did it. We muscled through it, and we got through it, and we survived, and here we are, right? Um, like I mentioned earlier, it's important to celebrate. When I got those 1,000, when we got to 1,000 aloes, it was just, if that day was just such a good day. Like I indulged in it, I soaked it in. I just can't tell you the feeling that I had. I won. Like I felt like I won. But then, the next day comes and the following day comes, and then I'm like, oh shit, I gotta keep going. I enjoyed it, I celebrated it, but I gotta move on, and same thing when, my daughter graduated with honors. When my daughter got her PhD, my eldest daughter, she's a scientist, molecular biologist scientist. She does research. When she got her PhD, same thing. I was, excited and happy and proud, of the proudest father on the planet. I even told myself, if I died today, it all be worth it. I got everything out of life already, but of course I'm alive and I got to keep going. But those are the victories that we want to celebrate. Um, for me, it's all about, encouraging a positive mindset, and that's where everything starts. And I think that's why I wanted to do this presentation on keep maintaining a positive mindset, because it's something that I struggle with. I know you guys struggle with it, and hopefully a lot of information I shared with you is going to help you and show you why that's important. It was really important for me. One of the things that I did early on that had a huge impact on me is I did landmark training. They're out here in LA, and it really worked on my mindset. I spent a lot of money. I want to say I spent in my career, I've easily spent over $100,000 on coaching and all kinds of different training for myself to build myself to where I'm at now, because I needed the discipline, I needed the help, I needed the encouragement, I needed the systems that were out there to be able to get me. So that investment is what you're seeing now, that that investment is still paying dividends. I'm building equity. I built equity in myself, and that equity continues to grow. And that's actually one of the things that we say. We say we're not just building equities in homes, we're building equity in people, right? And so these are my final thoughts. what I want you guys to do is I'm gonna, continue having, all the holidays are out of the way. No more excuses. Let's focus on the things that we need to do to grow. One of my thoughts is if I'm gonna be here for 8 hours, 4 hours, whatever it is, I'm gonna be working. Then I gotta get the most bang for my buck. Meaning that those my time to work is committed to work, nothing else. I'm not gonna go waste time talking about gossiping in the lunchroom or this and that. I'm going to be working so that I get the most value, the most bang for my buck during the time that I'm working. And I could probably do what I used to do in 8 hours, I could probably do in 3 hours or 4 hours now, right? So it gives me time to do other things. So uh, I'll leave you with that. And I also want you guys to share, inbox me. Any trainings that you guys want me to do, I do trainings, on loan application, on lending pad, uh, understanding credits. I have all these trainings that I put together for you guys in any part of the loan cycle. And I look at the emails and I've done people have emailed me something and I've done trainings based around that stuff. But I want to make sure that I'm catering to what your guys' needs are and then I'm helping you grow and develop. So thank you guys so much. And let's have a strong 2025. Anything that we can do, our team can do for you guys, let us know. We're here for you. We work for you guys. You're our boss. So, we're ready to take orders. So have a good one and enjoy the rest of your day.